What do we move on to now? Let's move on to Dan Crenshaw. And we're going to start, this starts with the baby formula shortage in the United States of America. And it's going to start with a story time. A story time about my wife's breasts. No, I don't think anybody saw this going there. So we have 3 kids. And when we had our first child, nobody knows what they're doing with their first child. And I'll say this, I don't think anybody knows what they're doing with their third child, but at least you've gotten comfortable with the idea that you don't know what you're doing and you've given up. You've abandoned any hope of knowing what you're doing. With our first child, you don't know what the hell you're doing. They tell you the poop's going to be black in there, for the first week and a half. You don't truly appreciate what it looks like. It's not the poop is black. You picture dark nuggets of poop. The baby is initially pooping out, stuff that he or she has consumed within the womb. It's not just blackish green. It's like a tarish substance, and not like slime, not like mucus. It's like a diluted tar that you can't actually wipe off the baby's butt like you would imagine you could do with slime or something. It's like Isles paste, sort of, but a little more diluted, blackish green. You have no idea what you're doing. You learn as you go. The first thing you learn is that baby's born at a certain weight, and typically they say it'll lose 10% of its body weight within, I think it was like the first week and a half, and that's supposed to be put back on. So what was it? It was like the baby loses roughly 10% of its body weight shortly after being born, and you're supposed to put that weight back on by your first follow-up visit with the doctor, which I think is 2 weeks later. And you're in the hospital, you give birth, the baby latches onto the boob and the breast, the nipple, as we say in French, le mamelon. Before they discharge you from the hospital, they make sure everything's fine. They make sure the baby, how to get the baby to latch onto the boobie, and that's it. You go home and you're on your own, and hopefully you just have family and friends who can help you through this process, because nobody's sleeping. You're not in your right mind. The mom is healing from stuff that, anybody who goes through it, you'll know what happens down there. It's amazing. Anyhow, amazing scientifically. So our first child was having trouble latching when we got home, and not having trouble chomping. Baby was chomping, just not latching, just not getting milk out. So what ended up happening is that the entire nipple, I hope Marion's not watching this. She'll find out soon. Marion's nipple basically got shredded. And shredded as in it's soggy, wet. The baby's gnawing on it with the gummy teeth, trying to latch. It starts, you're trying to do it so often that it starts peeling. It's like being in water indefinitely. And it makes it even harder for the baby to get milk out. And we didn't know that our baby didn't put back on the weight that she was supposed to put back on, because we didn't know that she wasn't getting enough breast milk. And baby's crying. You don't know what's going on. Baby's crying. You're out of your mind trying to make the baby just not cry and sleep. And then we found out that baby was having problems latching, and we had to go to a bottle. We had to go, Marion would squeeze, and we'd go get formula to supplement, because the baby had to supplement for what she was not able to get because she wasn't latching properly. And this happens to a lot of women. And so that's a reality, that when you're out of your mind, you've just given birth, you haven't slept in weeks. And now in the United States, there's an actual shortage of baby formula, and that mothers, in addition to everything else that they're going through, and I say mothers and fathers, families, mothers and mothers, fathers and fathers, and whoever has a newborn, that they have to bottle feed or supplement with formula. Apparently there's a shortage. I didn't know this. I saw it on the news that apparently 80% of the formula production in the United States is made by 2 companies. I don't know which companies those are offhand. But Viva bringing back all the horror memories of parents everywhere. Oh, man. I remember, one time, because her nipples were so mangled from the baby not latching properly, we go outside in the sun just to try to get some sunlight to dry the... And I just remember they sprung a leak. It was literally like a faucet, because the milk comes out of these little glands. The glands just sprung a leak, and we're sitting there. She's topless, and there's like a little water pistol of milk just squirted, consistent, not like a drop. It was just like a broken hose, because there was so much in there that couldn't get out through the baby. It just sprung its own leak. That was when I had my first taste of breast milk as well. But okay, story time for another day. So, okay, fine. Yeah, moving on. So apparently 80% of formula in the United States is made by 2 companies, one of which has been shut down for months. Nobody knows why yet. And now there's a shortage. I think there's 4 states in which the shortage is less than 50% of stock, and in all other states, a problem. Okay. And there's a big, if this is, as far as I'm concerned, baby formula, once you appreciate this, it's not food. It's not snacks. It's not chips. It's not even sugar. It's not honey. This is an essential item. This is an essential item because you're also dealing with babies at a certain time where brain development is critical. Getting the proper, it's not just electrolytes, vitamins, it's critical. It's critical for early development. This is not like having a potato shortage. It's not like not being able to find cooking oil. This is critical infrastructure. This is, you want to call it national security. This is a matter of the safety of a nation, to be able to feed their newborns. And for whatever the reason, I'm not going to immediately point my finger to Joe Biden because I don't know what this plant was shut down for, how long the problems have persisted, what the problems are. I just know where my brain is going in terms of who the buck stops with, according to Joe Biden himself. It's not just negligence. I believe that this is borderline criminal. And I believe it's borderline criminal because you have this problem. It's critical. You want to talk critical infrastructure for all the politicians who talk about, reproductive rights is essential. Feeding a newborn is essential. And it's not like everybody can go out there and breastfeed. This is negligence at best and criminal at worst. And while this is going on, by the way, people just find, the government finds $40 billion. $40 billion to fund a foreign conflict. I mean, it's inconceivable.